So should we start one now?
Yes, sir. As
Okay.
you say.
Right.
Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, just wait for a minute and then we'll start.
Okay, sir.
Wait for just a minute or so. Just, I think we should start, right?
Okay, sir. All right. Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you to the second day of this faculty development program. I will quickly announce the instructions for today's session. Please type your full name and affiliation details in the chat box. If you face any technical difficulties at any point of time during the webinar, please feel free to reach us on WhatsApp group. If you have any questions for the speaker, please write them in the chat box. Please be informed that this session is being recorded. Participants are requested to stay with us throughout the session as there will be a small quiz at the end. Once again, thank you for joining us. At the outset, I first want to thank our respected principal, Sir Dr. Vipin Kumar Agarwal, and teacher in charge of Department of Commerce, Dr. Shubhangi Chopra, for inception and execution of this FDP. The topic of today's session is ICT tools, Google Classroom, and Zoom platforms. We all know that for coming few years, we need to be well versed with these ICT tools to be able to continue the teaching learning process effectively. I humbly thank Dr. Arnav Kumar, our honorable speaker for today, for taking out time to share his expertise in these tools. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kumar to all of you. He is currently an assistant professor in the Department of Commerce and Management Studies at Ramanujan College, University of Delhi. He has done his post-graduation with distinction and doctorate from Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. He has a rich experience of around 7 years of teaching various postgraduate and undergraduate courses in commerce and management. A vivid researcher, Dr. Arnav has published 16 research papers in national and international journals of repute, has presented papers in about a dozen conferences, seminars, and has received 9 Best Research Paper Awards at different national and international conferences. He has undertaken around 25 sessions as resource person, including in MHRD and UGC-sponsored national level FTPs, workshops, and 1-month faculty induction orientation programs at institutions such as Sri Ram College of Commerce, Hansraj College, and many others, including several B schools. Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar, for sparing out time for us. Now, I would like to invite Principal Sir to say a few words before I hand over the screen space to Arya.
Very good morning, friends. Today's morning is a special moment for me. I was supposed to attend some other meeting with the university officials, but since Arnav is taking the session, so I decided not to attend that meeting and to attend this program. Why I am saying so? Because when we were planning this program, this FDP of teaching methodology and ICT tools, Shubhanjali, our teacher in charge of Department of Commerce, referred about Arnav, and I said, okay, let me talk to him. There was some issue, so I said, let me talk to him. Let me make the detailed program of this FDP. And when I talked to him, Arnav told me that he was a student of my MCOM class in the 2011-13 batch. The moment he told me that he was my student, I developed a different type of relationship with him. And it was, believe me, it was a really proud moment for me. Not only on that day, since then, whenever we talk something, I always ask myself, or I'll tell myself, oh, I'll talk to Arnav and things will be sorted out. Not only of today's session, but even other sessions. Because in their college, they have been organizing this FDPs regularly, because their college is associated with Madan Mohan Malviya program. So they have been regularly conducting this. So really, it's a really good feeling and honor that Arnav is taking today's session. I'm on this side of the table, and Arnav is on the other side of the table. That is the table that is the place that is being given to the teacher, the dais that is being given to the teacher. He is there. Today he is the guru, and I'm the shishya. So I'm really proud. And it cannot be, there cannot be, more prouder moment for a teacher than to see his own students that they are on the other side of the table. So I'm really thankful to Arnav. And let me tell you, Arnav was a very quiet and introvert type of the student as far as I can recollect. He was quiet in the class, but very studious. He used to sit on the front desk, always in the class. And I tell you one more thing. One of my close friend who is the principal of a college, he said, in your FDP, one or two resource person is quite young. I said, please don't judge them by their age. Don't judge them by their number of years of experience. Judge them by the quality. You tell your faculty members to attend the program, and then you tell me that what was the caliber of the resource person. So I'm very proud that the person of this repute and this reputation, who has in this young age have already published 16 papers, and he has been regularly acting as a resource person in different FDPs, not only of Delhi University, but across the country, is with us today. And in the last, I would also like to once again congratulate Department of Commerce, Dr. Shubhangi Chopra, Dr. Vandana, Shasta, Rishika, and Radha Bhula, all women group, to organize this program and giving us this opportunity to listen to all these colleagues, because I firmly believe that this ICT tools or ICT technology, this is the need of the hour. Those teachers who will not adapt themselves with the new technology, they will be really behind the scene. So we must equip ourselves with the latest teaching methods, and this, because people's habits are changing, students' habits are changing. Students do sleep 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they find it difficult to get up early in the morning at 8 o'clock, 8:30. So what will happen? You record your lecture, those students who are ready to come to the class, let them attend the class by their physical presence. Those who cannot attend the class because of some reason or the other will have to provide them our own lectures to them by these ICT tools, right? So this is a good effort by the Department of Commerce. I congratulate the Department of Commerce. And in the last also, I would like to thank Arnav for taking this session. Hand over to Arnav. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It is indeed encouraging, and your kind words makes our day. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Without much to say, I would now hand over the screen space to Dr. Arnav. Over to you, Arnav. All the very best.
Respected Principal Sir, Dr. Vipin Agrawal, respected TIC, Commerce Department, Aurobindo College, Shri Shubhangi Ma'am, and the organizing team members of the FTP, Meenakshi Ma'am, Rishika Ma'am, Radha Ma'am, Shasta and Vandana. So really, as Sir has already given the background both of our relationship and of the program, it was really a privilege to receive an opportunity to be invited and to share some of my learnings on this topic with you all. And Sri Aurobindo College has remarkably organized such a platform on a topic which will be of pertinent importance and utility to us, especially in the coming times. And as Sir has already told, that it may also continue in the long run, because we need more convenience, more flexibility, as we will soon see some of the advantages of online teaching and learning. So I really, first of all, congratulate and thank Sri Aurobindo College Department of Commerce for organizing this under the patronship and leadership of Vipin Sir and Shubhangi Ma'am, and bringing us all together, because I can see from the participant lists, there are several professors, several faculty members, many of them would be, again, much senior to me, and they are from across disciplines and across colleges of University of Delhi and even beyond. So it is really a wonderful platform and a contemporary topic especially for today's session also. So without further ado, and after thanking all of you and welcoming all of you, I would like to start with the today's session. So as you are already aware, the topic is ICT tools, Google Classroom and Zoom platform. But before beginning with specifically with the Google Classroom and Zoom platform, let me first begin with a slight brief idea about online teaching and ICT tools, how do they fit, and also I would be discussing some of the other ICT tools also very briefly, just to give you an idea, so that you know the broad framework within which we are working, and then we can specifically obviously move on to Google Classroom and Zoom platform. So, as many of you would be aware, and it is not, something which we discuss theoretically, something which we experience already in the past couple of months, and in general also, that ICT tools have an important role in education, in teaching learning process. Many of the things that take place are facilitated due to ICT. You can see that we can have easy sharing of resources, education for all, whoever has internet connectivity across the world. We already see that on Mooc platforms across the world, students sitting in India, Africa, Asia, in any other part of the world, however underprivileged they are, if they have adequate access to internet and ICT resources, they can access the best learning in the world from Harvard, MIT, Cambridge, Oxford. There are open source courses. So promotes education for all, easy access and easy sharing of resources. We can also create content because we all know the traditional way of teaching, wherein wherein we use books and wherein we prepare our handmade notes. Many of the teachers make huge effort in preparing handmade notes and study material for students on various topics. But if we do that on online mode, again, the one in which we do it physically and in personal capacity has a limited access, has a limited potential. But if we can create the same kind of study material and e-resources online and then share it and disseminate it, then it will be with us for a long, long time. And we can, obviously go on further updating and revising the contents. And also it fits in because just like other professions, we are in a service industry and service is for those who we are here to serve. So our primary stakeholders going ahead in future would be the millennial generation. And the millennial generation, just like, in marketing also, we say that they are online, so you have to go online. So millennial generation is definitely online. We can see all around us, our younger siblings, our younger friends, relatives, children, maybe all of them are on online platforms. They are more comfortable with online platform. They want access, they want comfort even in learning. Maybe as sir pointed out, they might have difficulty coming to college 8:30 in the morning, 9 a.m. in the morning. So maybe they would like to study at home at night or on holidays or at any other time. So the online, if we have online resources ready in both in terms of video lectures as well as study material and contents that we usually offer, then it will be a great difference making. Also, it is, sometimes thought of as a limitation of online teaching mode, though I would definitely, if I take this freedom to express my personal view, I really feel that online mode is not a substitute for our traditional teaching method. It is definitely a complement. It is not a substitute because there are definitely certain strategic advantages and certain great benefits of face-to-face interaction, collaboration, discussion, doubt sessions that are there in the offline mode that cannot be perfectly substituted in an online mode. So there definitely is a slight gap, but there are mediums, as we would see, as we are doing now through Zoom platform and other mediums that we will see, and as we go further in detail, that there has been certain developments and enhancements which now increasingly bridge the gap and try to overcome this primary demerit of online education, that it is non-interactive. So that we will see that there are certain means through which we can try to interact even in the online mode. So again, education can be organized, structured. This time, it has great flexibility of time for everyone, even for teachers. Sometimes we all here in the FTP, most of us, almost all of us are faculty members. So sometimes we cannot make it up for class on some day. We have some important engagement. So why not upload a video lecture or take an online class if we are not able to commute or there is some other issue. So time flexibility and such things are not only for students, but it is for everyone, including the teachers. Cost effectiveness, you would really wonder, because the cost of doing an online program is significantly lesser, both for the organizing institution as well as for the participants. And the benefit of it ultimately, again trickles down to the stakeholders and the learners, because they can enroll into the best of the programs. It have the same access to all knowledge and learning at a margin, at a fraction of a cost. Because you can even I was looking recently at the courses, for example, online MBA from best universities in the world, MIT and Harvard, and they are also looking to start. They have already been doing online specific courses, but now they are looking to start with online full-time post-graduation programs. So the cost of it definitely would be a fraction of what it would take to actually go and attain those knowledge or education. Similarly, some institutions, I recently got an opportunity to know that institutions in India also, like several IIMs are starting and IITs are starting some online courses, including certificate courses, diploma courses. Maybe they will shift a part of their diploma programs, postgraduate diploma program, 1 year maybe. Already I saw that a couple of institutions had a postgraduate diploma program on business analytics in a completely online mode. So the online mode will definitely revamp and facilitate the delivery. And especially, as Sir also pointed out, if we can use, for example, maybe there may be some connection glitches, or uh, at that moment everybody may not be able to join in. But for example, if we can record lectures, we can record sessions, then obviously anyone can access it later also from anywhere, anytime. So it is a great method, a great aid to teaching learning process, especially in the present times when we uh, really have very limited options. Because I was seeing through the numbers, and globally the coronavirus cases continue to remain strong. In fact, several of the peaks, including for the first time crossing 135,000 number of daily cases globally, has happened in the past few days. So though mortality rate has declined, but the virus continues to spread very quickly. So, and we don't know uh, how long this will persist. There are several studies who say that there may be a second outbreak later this year that would be more potent, or earlier next year. So anyways, we should be ready for the change. And this might just be a stimuli for us to adopt, but in the long run we should envelop this. Now, when I talk about ICT tools, as you are already aware, today's session is primarily for Google Classroom and Zoom platform. But I would also take a moment to talk about two very important tools that you must be aware of, that will greatly help in our academia and teaching learning process, and including even in research, because many of you are into research also and would be willing to, or would be doing some research. I would tell you how these tools can benefit even in that regard. So before coming to Google Classroom and Zoom, I would like to discuss about Google Docs and Google Forms. So again, these are like Google Classroom. These are open free source tools that are available for use by anyone, anywhere across the world. And also all you need is just a Gmail ID, just a Google ID, and you can just go to Google, log in with your Gmail ID, and you can just type Google Docs, and you will be taken to your Google Docs, which is in your Google Drive, basically, because for each email account, Google creates a Google Drive, which has certain storage capacity. And in that Google Drive, you have all the contents, including the content that we will uh, upload or we will share through Google Classroom. Those contents will also get uploaded and saved by default on our Google Drive. So Google Doc is a platform of Google, free open source platform like that of Google, like similarly. So many of you may be easily able to relate it with MS Word, Microsoft Word, which we all are aware of and we often work on. So yes, it is very similar to MS Word, but there are certain, so you would say, why Google Doc? Why not only we are fine with our Word document, we can simply work on it. But there are certain very strategic advantages that you can get from Google Docs. For example, imagine that whether you have to write a report for a conference or a workshop or a FTP, because I am talking from perspective of academicians, faculty members. So the common things that we get to do, maybe we have to prepare a proposal, or we have to prepare a presentation, or we have to prepare a brochure for conference or workshop or FTP or any other program that we want to do in near future. Maybe there are some teachers who want who are there are we also have some papers in which we share our workload, and we do collaborative teaching. So we share classes, we share topics. So wherever you want to do any kind of teamwork, so the primary idea behind Google Doc is that wherever you want to do teamwork simultaneously from different places in MS Word type of environment, but online simultaneously, then you can use Google Docs. So there is one account, there will be one person from which the Google Doc will be created, will originate, but that person can add collaborators and add multiple collaborators. So your entire faculty team, your entire organizing team can simultaneously work on the proposal of the program, on the report of the program, on the minutes of the meeting, or on the study material that you want to share. Many of us I can see, are already into research or have done PhD. So if you have suppose you want to collaborate with other faculty members for a research paper, so again, how do you do it in an online environment? And again, sending and receiving multiple emails, and in that again there is a limitation, because if you are working on a research paper, suppose we have a tight deadline, then I cannot work because you are already working on it elsewhere. So I have to wait for you to work because you are working in isolation on your personal system. So I have to wait till you finish, then you send me back the work that you have done. Then only I can improvise and suggest changes or make improvements in it. But in Google Docs platform, it is amazing. And recently also, I personally also engaged, and we had a very tight deadline for a research proposal to IIT Delhi. And I worked with my colleague and we could do it. We were very, running short of time. So what to do? I said that let's use Google Doc. Let's simultaneously work. And you would be amazing. I worked on some sections of the proposal, objective, research gaps, and other things, methods. And the other colleague was working on literature review, and we could simultaneously finish it within the deadline, which would never have been possible. And also, suppose you share the link. Suppose you share the link. So what if some other person makes changes? So it is another very important feature in this is that each change made by anyone will be trackable. So it is not so that anyone can, delete your previous content or make changes. Whatever change, only the collaborators whom you have added, your trusted friends, supervisors, colleagues, teammates, organizing team members, only they can have the access. And even when they have the access, they can actually, you know, you can actually, as the originator of that, and even all others can see which person has specifically made which change. So there is no, fear of losing your original content or somebody with any no knowingly or unknowingly making some mistake which erases your vital contributions till that point. And again, you can have the option of doing undoing. You can undo that change, you can approve that change, you can reject that change. So all of this can be done. And the idea which I have told of Google Docs is same way. For example, for MS Excel, we have a Google spreadsheet. We have Google spreadsheet, which is, same idea is there. It is like MS Excel, like other spreadsheets. So you can work on that. For presentations, we have Google Slides, so you can do presentations. So all of this you can, simultaneously work. So these are very important tools for completing our work, creating study material, doing research, preparing proposals, minutes. All of this you can do at your home, from your home, simultaneously online. Everybody will be able to give their inputs, make changes, and also know which person has what made what changes. All we need to do is to just, embrace this. Another very important tool, which I think many of you would be aware of, particularly those who have been doing primary research. So we often get numerous questionnaires and surveys. So we all remember the traditional time in which we, used to conduct surveys and other things while through online. So we, used to prepare our questionnaires, and then we used to, get the printouts. Often we had to take several hundred pages of printout depending upon number of potential respondents and the length of our questionnaire. And then we used to show it to our supervisors and experts, and then ultimately float it to the participants. And then we had all sort of problems. In fact, if you just thought that conducting offline surveys and was just getting the printout and the material ready and approved was the starting point, was the end of problems. Actually it is a start of the problems. It is not the end, it is the start of the problems. Because even when you get the physical forms, many people will skip questions while filling. And if they skip questions, often, if the many of you who are into this kind of research would know that if they skip a lot of questions, then that would make that form irrelevant. That would make that response practically irrelevant if they miss several and key questions, because participants can do that in the offline mode. Also, somebody, places a big tick mark or a big circle that goes across one or two options, often because to compress contents and save paper and to fit it in one page, we have smaller font size in offline forms. So often which option they have selected for which question, particularly writing style, if you are seeking a detailed response, all of that mess. And then again, those forms may get damaged. Subsequently, they may get spoiled or they may get lost, and you will lose all of that. So there is an option, there is an alternative. The alternative is that we use Google Forms. Alternative is that we use Google Forms. So Google Form, we, as you have already seen, many of you would have seen definitely the surveys that we get. So in Google Forms, we can simply create, log in through our Google account, go to our Google Drive, create a Google form or survey. If time permits, I can show you both of these things quickly, very quickly, before coming to Google Classroom and Zoom. So we just go to that, we create different type of questions, and in fact, Google Forms not only are for surveys, for example, your feedback surveys, student feedback. In academia, if we think of, we have to take student feedback, we have to take feedback from participants of various programs like this one. We have to maybe take views of other teachers or other teammates in our organization. We obviously have to use it for research purposes. But another very important feature and utility of Google Forms is that it can be used for assessment of students. It can be used for assessment of students. You can do assessment, so you would say that, okay, so it would only be a quiz based assessment, MCQ based assessment. It is not so. Actually, you can also have subjective assessment. So as we would just see in a minute maybe, that we can add subjective questions. We can create a quiz, we can add subjective questions, and we can obviously have MCQ questions, multiple checkpoints, and all of it. And again, how to ensure that which person has submitted. So you can make it mandatory to collect their email IDs. You can make mandatory some questions which you want them to fill, without which they cannot submit the form. And another big problem in the offline surveys and offline quizzes and offline assessment modes was that, okay, we have all the content with us, but now it is in hard copy, it is in offline version. Now all the responses, maybe 300, 400, all of that we have to enter. We have to manually, literally, we have to take for any of us, it would be a cumbersome process. Very easy, but definitely a hugely time consuming process. So you have 400 forms, 400 responses, feedback from 100 participants for each session on 5-6 days. So you have 500, 600 responses. Imagine manually filling in entries, because unless you do unless you manually fill in the entries and do it, it won't work. You have to bring it online in some Excel or some SPSS or some other platform for some analysis. So also, many of you who would be using or who have used Google Form would know that Google Forms also gives us a brief analysis, descriptive analysis of all responses that we have received till now. So maybe because we already have to focus on our primary things, but as sir says, or as ma'am says, or as participants say, if we have some time, even 5 minutes towards the end, then we can look for this and we can do this.
Arnav, you can show right now also if you want.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, so we can just have a look, so that you are comfortable, as sir has already guided us. So let's do it. So let me open my web browser and let me share the screen with you. So you can see this is a simple Google search that we are well familiar with. So for example, I have signed out of all accounts. So I am simply on Google. I am simply on Google. I have not signed it with any account. It is entirely open. Anybody just having an internet access from mobile or anything. All I need to do is, first of all, I need to sign in, because this will also, be the background step for our Google Classroom, because you can access all the features of Google through this. So your Google account. So first thing I would do is to go to Gmail. Simply I click Gmail, I go to Gmail. So I simply sign in with my account. This is my official account from college, but it is not a requirement that you use your institutional ID. It is not a requirement. You can use your personal ID, whatever you have, created. So I have this, now I logged in. So normally I would be taken to my Gmail account, but I am not going to Gmail. What I can do is, you can see the 9 dots here. You can see the 9 dots here. It is there whenever you have logged in successfully with your account. You simply go to Google. So there is these 9 dots. So you can click on this and you can see that there are several options. As I told you, you can see that there is an option of Google Docs, Google Sheets, which is just for MS Excel, just a substitute online form of spreadsheet. And then you have slides for making presentations. So I can, for example, click on Google Docs. I can click on Google Docs. I can skip the tour. This is the window of Google Docs. I have simply logged in through my email ID and I have gone to Google Docs. I can start a new document, a blank document. There are some formats also. And then I can simply type ICT tools and, we can start creating. And this has all the features like MS Word. So you have bold, italic, underline, different font styles, different font sizes, different features, all of that that we generally see in Word documents. But a very, very important feature you would notice here is the feature of share. If I click on this share, then first of all, I need to give a title. It is just confirming that you want to give this title. Okay, so I say yes. Now you can see, all of you, that we can add by directly typing in the email IDs, or we can get a link. We can get a link which we can share with our colleagues, our researchers, our supervisor, our students, and we can share the link with over WhatsApp, over Gmail, over any other medium, or we can directly type in, for example, here, my other email ID, if I can type arnavkumardsc@gmail.com. And similarly, I just have to press comma. I can type some of my colleagues from my college, my family members, anyone I can, add here as collaborators. And you can specify here, please also notice this, after, adding the email IDs, the email IDs have to be from Google. So this is one thing, the email IDs have to be on Gmail, those who you want to add as collaborators. So once you do that, you can type a message, hi, I invite you all for working on e-resources creation for ICT tools topic. Or I invite all my colleagues for writing the minutes of a meeting, or preparing the brochure, or you can prepare your entire brochure in this, or you can prepare your proposals, or supervisors can, researchers can simultaneously work on a research paper. Now, one thing that you need to notice and keep in mind is that what permission you are granting to the collaborators. So there is also great feature here that you can you don't need to make, the editor form is the highest form. So since you have created this document from your ID, so you are the owner of this, you are the owner. Now you can add the other person's other persons as editors, so they will be able to change everything. They will be able to make all sorts of amendments, but please bear in mind that whatever amendments they make, still it would be visible to you. Still it would be visible to you, and still you can undo those changes. So no permanent loss, no risk of any ambiguity, even though it is online. Secondly, you can make them as commentators. So for example, when we send our proposal to senior people, senior teachers, maybe our TIC, our convener, our principal sir, or to our supervisor. So they might not be entirely have the time to edit all the changes, but they can comment. So they can not make changes in the document, but they can add comments at different points. So they can tell you through those comments what changes should be made. And also you can restrict, so this is the lowest form, you can restrict the other collaborators only as viewer. So if they are only a viewer, they can only just see what is there. They cannot comment on it, and obviously they cannot make any changes. So this is with Google Docs, and let's cancel it. And now let's also see for Google Forms. Again, you can go through Google Drive. Your Google Drive, you can see here the 9 dots. You can go to your drive, or you can also browse in from here, and we will also come to this later, just in a while. Here you can see the option of classroom. Otherwise, here we have the option of forms. So let me go to forms from here only. So we have the Google Forms. Again, we have some templates. So you can see course evaluation, assessment. You can sometimes, if we are organizing conferences in which we have international speakers, so for example, we can get their ticket details and we can get their journey details, because all of this we have been doing in the offline mode, and we have been asking for their documentation, which is fine. But to fasten the process, we can do all of this through online mode also. So again, if I click on a blank, then I get a interface for a new Google form. So I can just type it, survey on adoption of ICT tools in teaching. I can make anything, and if you just copy it from here, you can get it here also. It will automatically come, survey on adoption. So this will be the title of your form. And in this session, I really wanted to do more like this, because we are already teachers and we all have been teaching and speaking and giving lectures, but I wanted this to be like this mode of interaction where I can show you how these things can be done rather than the lecture. Obviously, some PPT and some material I will be sharing with you, with the organizers, and the organizers can share with you. But we can have more of, in these 2 hours, more of hands-on illustrations of how these things work. So for example, we can add some description to the form, that what this is about, whom it is meant for, and we can start with adding questions. So again, you can add a multiple choice question, you can add check boxes. So for example, if you are asking teachers which ICT tools you have been adopting in your teaching, so they can have checkbox system through which they can select multiple things. So they will say that I have been in touch with my students through email and platforms like WhatsApp. Then next they will say I have been using Google Classroom. Then next they will say I have used Google Form to give quizzes and take their assessment. Then next they will say I have used platforms like Zoom to take online classes and lectures. So we can have check boxes, we can have multiple choice questions, and now this is how it is a great game changer, because this was a big limitation, that it was perceived that in online quizzes and online survey methods, you can only get MCQ responses and specific questions, but it is not so. You can get detailed subjective answers through short answer. Short answer would definitely be very brief, so maybe name, designation, or something like that. But paragraph, you can add up to an entire essay. Students can submit an entire essay, a detailed feedback, a detailed report, their viewpoint, all of that you can get. So you can change this question to a long answer text, you can see paragraph. You can make it short answer text. You can make it multiple choice. You can make it check boxes, so they can choose multiple options. You can give a question a title, and so on. Also, we can make how to make this compulsory, because that was the problem in offline forms, that we could not some of the participants skipped some crucial questions. So we can make it mandatory, required. So this form will not get submitted unless the respondent responds to this question. Also, we can make a duplicate. If so, to add more question, we can click on this plus to add more questions. In fact, there are some more features you can explore. You can import questions from another form that you have already created. You can add title and description. You can add image. You can even add video, because immense, for example, in marketing, many of you are from commerce background, so marketing, for example, or even in social science disciplines, for example, we want to show a video clip in English, or in humanities, in languages, we want to show a video to our students, and then ask them to write what phenomena is taking place, what social message is there in that, or what strategy a marketeer is using. So you can even create a question in which you can provide a video link. So if moment I click on video, you can add a YouTube link, or you can directly paste URL. So if any video is not on YouTube but it is there on any other platform, you can you can enter its, copy paste its URL, and the students or participants will see that video, and they will fill the responses. Now there are few things that you should know, particularly for making it a quiz. So if we go here on this button, this is settings button. So if I go here, settings, I went to settings. So there is a very important option of quiz, which is there for our online assessment. So we can make this survey, we can make this form a quiz, and there is automatic grading. Recently, we are in my college, I am convener, and I am doing a 60-hour diploma course on financial modeling. So again, we had huge response, and we shifted to entirely to online mode. Now I had planned many things earlier for this course on financial modeling, but now I had limited option of doing online assessment, but the number of students were 120 in that course. So I was really in a situation as to how I will assess 120 students. So all I needed to do was to create questions and provide their correct answers as input. So for example, you can just see, if I make this a question and I write here ICT tools that you have adopted, and I give options: Google Doc, Google Forms, Google Classroom, and maybe Zoom or Google Meet. So you can see that I can assign, once I have made this a quiz, then I will be able to assign score, and I will be able to choose a correct answer. So what will happen is that once I enable this here in the settings, for example, I did not save the settings, so it is still not a quiz. So if I make this a quiz and save it, then you get what is, you can see here, you can now get a input for answer key. So you can specify which of this is a correct answer. So I say that all four are correct answer. You can obviously have a MCQ in which you can choose only one answer, one correct answer, but here all are the possible options. And I can give its weightage. So how much weightage this question carries. So maybe 1 mark, 2 mark, and I can be done with it. And all for all the 120 students, and I had about 70 questions. Imagine me checking manually 8,400 responses. All of that was automatically graded, and you can revert back to your students. You can share the answer key along with the feedback if you want to add for any question. So similarly, there are many things, but I think, given you an idea. You can explore more. And finally, when we are done with everything, we can click on this send button. So send button will again give us the option of sharing it via email. So you can enter the email IDs here, or you can get a link. So what we normally have is links for this, and we can click on this button, shorten URL. So we will get a very small link, and we can copy this and we can paste and share to others. So this is the utility of this. Now let me come back to our Google Classroom now. So Google Classroom, I would just take 1 or 2 minutes, and then we will again like to do more hands-on work. But we just need to have a background. So Google Classroom is basically a product or a service, you can say, which was started by Google way back in 2014. So 5-6 years it has already been, and Google visualized it as a platform for educational institutions, and you can manage your virtual classroom, and you could see that there are many features. It is free of cost. It is free of cost. You can easily create. We will see how we will do this. You can easily create classroom and add students. Again, like all ICT platforms, it is accessible anytime, anywhere. You can add any type of course content. So whether it is a text file, whether it is a Word or PDF file, and many of the times, while preparing study materials, some of us face this kind of difficulty, because till now we were sharing offline study material and photocopies, or maybe books, or referring to books, or maybe contents to or notes to our students. But for the first time, we had to create online study material. So many of you must have used some sort of scanners or ebooks. So whatever, you can, if you can get it in a Word file or in a PDF file, you can upload your entire text matter. You can also upload videos, web links, PPTs, whatnot. So all kind of course content you can share with the students in the classroom that you have created, virtual classroom, and you can add students. And you don't need to worry, because some of us also are a bit cautious that in online mode how we will keep record. It is perfectly fine. You will soon see when I take you to Google Classroom. You will see that entire assignment, entire quiz is there. You can have it on the platform, and that will be your record. Students would have, in fact, a very, cost effective and very convenient record you would have. You don't have to have any physical copy, neither at your end nor at student end. Students can submit their detailed assignments, their quizzes, and you will have a virtual record of everything. You can also track students' progress, and to make it interactive, students can post their queries, and just like trying in a real classroom environment. particularly in higher education, we see that students also learn from each other. So there is also something called peer learning. So it is not only one-sided delivery from teacher. So discussion forums provide the platform. Obviously, teacher can also join and comment, but discussion forum, you can, students can engage with themselves and learn from each other and solve each other's queries. And obviously, you as the teacher of the course in Google Classroom can comment and communicate with the student through these options. And you will see, I will tell you a very interesting thing. How can you run a timed assessment, a time-bound assessment on Google Classroom? But obviously, you can also, for example, I want my course content to be visible to students after 2 days. But as in a personal capacity, we all know maybe I will be busy for next 5 days, or maybe I'm going out of town, or I have an important personal engagement. So I will not be there to post it after 2 days. So there is a great feature of scheduling. So through this scheduling feature, you can enter the time enter the time at which your course content, your assignment, your quiz will be posted and will be visible to students. So this is a great utility. For example, you have prepared your assignment, you have prepared your test, but obviously the test is after 5 days. So you cannot, share the questions now, either in the assignment or in the quiz. So you can schedule it for 5 days. You can enter the precise date and time, as we will soon see. Also, students keep, we all have this experience, till the exams, till the finalization of internal assessment. So students keep coming to us for quiz or some assignment that we gave months back. So what assignment we gave in January, students are submitting in April when they know that now their internal assessment is being finalized. But in Google Docs, in Google Classroom, there is no scope for that. There is a timestamp. There is a timestamp detailed to seconds. So we will know exactly when a student has submitted his or her assignment or quiz. So there is no running away. There is no cheating. Many times students say that, okay, ma'am, you were not available. Sir, you were not available. I sent to my friend. I sent to my students. None of that is possible. There will be an exact timestamp at which they have submitted their assignment or work. So these are the features of Google Classroom. So before again coming to Zoom, we will come to Zoom later. Now let's do all of this hands-on. So again, I go to Google. So this were the Google Docs and the ICT that I had opened. Now let me start again. So again, I am starting from the very basic, from the very scratch. I have simply logged into my Gmail account. I have done nothing else. I am starting from the scratch. I simply type in here Google Classroom and do a search, and you can easily be taken. You can see the icon and you can easily be taken. And one important thing, because when we do these ICT tools, we are often concerned whether it will work on our different operating systems. So yes, Google Classroom, like Zoom, another very important reason why we have chosen Zoom also, because Zoom is available, because many teachers as well as learners today use different systems, operating systems like iOS and Apple. So many of the features are not available on that. So Google Classroom and Zoom platforms are available on all types of operating system, whether on your laptop or on your mobile. You need not worry about it, and it is free of cost. You have to do nothing. So you just come to Google Classroom. I click on Google Classroom. So I have not been, doing this. I have not started Google Classrooms from this email ID. So for me, it is a, first time, and you can see, and it is, in fact, a good thing because you can also follow right from the start. So I will also take you quickly after a while to my other Gmail account and the Google Classroom that is linked with that account, because I have been teaching on that for past few months. So on that, we will be able to see many things that I have already done. But in this, we can use to start. So obviously it is clear to you, I am a student, I am a teacher. So let's say I'm a teacher, and just, you come here. Now, how do we go ahead from this? So we go to this tab, and this all interface is very simple. So if you just, when we are all mature and we are adults, so if you just, follow the visual description, even if some of you are not able to do it hands-on simultaneously, then just if you note down the major steps and follow the visual illustration, you would be easily able to do it later on. So what I need to do here is to just click on this plus button. So plus button will give us two options. As many of you would be able to see, I think it is either a join a class or create a class. So please remember, dear participants, even if we enroll ourselves as a teacher, then there may be some other course. For example, we as teachers are participants of this FTP. So there may be some program, some course, some induction program, some orientation program, some FTP, some workshop, some other, capacity development program, or any other thing from which we are a student. And again, we have to, do it online mode. In the today's time, we have to do it online for conveniences that, you will see on Google Classroom. So even if as I am a teacher, I may have to join another class, or obviously I can create my own class. So for example, if I click on join class, so this is more relevant for, students. So you would see here that what it asks is for a class code. So the Google Classroom asks you for a class code by which entering which you can, join this class. So I will be, using the two Gmail accounts that I have. So I will be illustrating to you what is the interface that is visible to both students and teachers. So what I can do is that through this Gmail account, I can create a class first, and from the other Gmail account, I will try to join this class so that you are aware that what features are visible to students and what students can see from their end. So this is, your interface. You can simply type a code here. I will show you what kind of code it is, and I will show you how we join a class. So let's now first create a class. So for example, I click on this plus button, and I click on create class. So you can see that only thing that is required, is the class name. Only thing that is required is the class name. All other things are optional, like section, subject, room. So class name, basically is a course name primarily. But, I, for example, prefer to write entire. So for example, if I am teaching a subject to BCom honors 5th semester financial management, I would prefer to write it as BCom honors Sem 5 financial management. But you can only write here BCom honors Sem 5. Then you can write section A, B, C in that BCom honors course. Then in the subject, you can write financial management or whatever subject you are teaching. And in the room, it is really optional one, because so whatever physical room that you are taking your class in, because again, this is also to support and augment the offline classes. So if you enter the room here, then students will also be aware of where they have to meet you for the offline interaction. So classroom is mandatory. So let's write the class name as ICT tools. Just for now, let's write this. And let's click on create. So just a few seconds and your own personal virtual classroom will be visible to you. So you can see we have a classroom of ICT tools. Now, immediately you can, there are some queries that are coming up in chat, but maybe we can take it up together at the end, as the organizers say. So we have this class of ICT tools, and now you can see here we have this class code. So remember, we were asked for a class code when we wanted to join another class. So this is the class code. So there is a unique class code for every virtual classroom that is created. So even if you are creating many classrooms for many different subjects, for each subject you will have your own unique class code. And for every individual across the globe, you will have your own class code. Now you can also select a theme for class. So there are some, since this is a classroom environment, so there are some popular themes, and you can see it is also discipline wise, some themes: maths and science, arts. There are then sports and other themes, so you can choose from these themes. For example, now we are working on ICT tools, so maybe this one or this one can help us. So let's say choose this one. So I can choose this. I just click on this pick and I select class theme. So you can see that the class theme has changed now. So this picture will be visible to students who join. Otherwise, you would say that I want to upload my own photo, because honestly speaking, these themes are very limited. So you can, choose to upload photo. So you can directly drag a photo here, or you can select a photo from your computer. So moment you click select a photo from your computer, you will be, led to, different software and parts of your system from which you can choose. So you can give the basic outlook. So you can name it, you can have your code, you can change the picture. So this is the basic thing. Now, let me go to, you will be seeing some tabs here that are very important. So let me illustrate to you, and also participants, as it has already been communicated to you, we will also be having a quiz. So please follow all that is being discussed very keenly and with great attention, because many of the quizzes would be based on our themes, which are Google Classroom and Zoom. So you don't have to memorize anything or remember anything, but if you're just aware and you're watching keenly, carefully, then you would be able to answer all the quiz questions that follow. So here we can, we have the option of stream, and we have the option of, you can see the 4 options. So you can see the option of stream, you can see the option of classwork, you can see the option of people, and you can see the option of grades. So I will show you through another class in which I have already taken some assessment. I will show you how the grade book looks. But for this class, suppose, for example, I have to add a student, or I have to add, maybe would be better that I illustrate as a student first. So I have to add students. So I simply, how do I, I have created this virtual classroom. Now, how do I involve, how do I engage students. How do I bring students on board? So I go to people and I click on the students tab here, and this icon you can see, this is for plus and adding more people, so inviting students. So if your student is already on the Google Classroom, then for example, if for example Arnav Kumar is already there, so you can see some Arnav Malhotra or Arnav Kumar, or again search, so you can search by name, or you can type your email ID. So you can invite students directly by typing their name here, which they have used for Google account. Like I have used Arnav Kumar, so you will get many different Gmail IDs, but you will obviously be able to know which the person is. Otherwise, obviously, if you don't know for sure which is the student, so it is preferable to get their email ID, and you can add the email ID here and you can invite them. But this would seem slightly cumbersome process. So a very easy method is that you just copy this. You can copy this code, this 7-digit code. Sometimes it can also be generally it is all alphabetical, but it can possibly be theoretically be alphanumeric also. So there can be numbers, but generally it is this only. Maybe when the scale goes up, Google may have the has kept option open, so you can add numbers also in this code, but it is simply alphabets for now. So you can simply copy this code. You can copy this code and you can simply paste it on your WhatsApp group, or you can share it with your student coordinator, student monitor, or student in charge of your class, or anyone who can share with all other students, or you can directly share this class code. So all students would need to do is just like we have did, is to go to their Google, log in with their Gmail, go to search Google Classroom like we did, and they will have to they will get an empty window like we had initially, and they can click on this plus, they can click on this join class, and they can enter a code here. So you can enter this code, and then they will be able to join. So obviously it is not possible for me because I am already a teacher in this. But what I will illustrate to you now is that I can do this through my other email ID. So just give me a second while I open my other email ID. So, okay, I'm done now. So I have also signed it with my other email ID.
आता है यार अपने से
नहीं आता, मुझे सीखना है
यार लेट्स सी
पापा को बोल के आ रहे हो, पापा को बोल के आ रहे हो।
So I have signed it with my other Gmail ID, and again I can go to Google Classroom, and Google Classroom. So again, I think it has opened with my first ID, but there is option of using another ID. So I click on this. And you can see that this was the ID that I was using for taking classes. So I'm taking these classes, Commerce G, BMS classes, and Diploma course on financial modeling. So all of them are visible to me. So typically we have 2-3 subjects in each semester. So all the courses will be visible to you here. Now, how do I join that class? So I have again enrolled as a teacher, and I am taking, you can see that there are several students also in these classes. So now I can, join this, still being a teacher, I can join another class. So I again simply click on this plus button, join class, and I copy that code now. I copy that code paste it here and I click on join. So I think there is a problem in copying the code. Let me just check. Should work. Should be working. Let me see. Okay, for the time being, let me invite myself through this Gmail feature. Okay, so actually, participants, actually, there is a restriction here. Okay, I got it why it is happening. Actually, I cannot, enroll anyone else because I have logged in. Please understand this feature. I have logged in from my institutional ID. You can see here, ramanujan.du.ac.in. So many of you are using your institutional IDs. So actually, this restricts, this account is managed by ramanujan.du.ac.in. So this restricts that only those who are actually, having a Gmail with this ID only, they only can be invited or added as students or teachers. So those who have this institutional ID on this domain, they only can join as student or teachers. But what I can do is I can do the reverse. So I can create a class from my other ID. So again, they will ask you whether you are creating for your institution or something else. You can just click I have read and understood and continue. And again, I can quickly click create an ICT tools class on this one also. Just few seconds in creation. So our class is ready, ICT tools. I can copy this. Hopefully I should be able to join in with the institutional ID. Otherwise I will have to again join in with another one. So, okay, again. So you can see this, I can neither join any class nor can I, add anyone else who is there from any other email ID. So just give me a second. Let me use a third email ID. So let me just use a third email ID to illustrate to you. So yes, dear participants, I have now joined through another email ID. This is actually my departmental email ID. So it is, I have been, just I will show you. So for example, if I unenroll from this class, I just checked it by enrolling. So I just unenroll from this class. So I click here, click to join. So I can join the class. I click on this button. I can type, copy paste this, and I will be able to use, can see here. I have joined this class as a student. I have joined this class as a student. From all I need to do is just a simple Gmail ID. Only thing that you need to keep in mind that when you are using institutional email ID, then you have to add, you can add as student or co-teachers only those who are, using that same institutional ID. Otherwise, if you are using your personal email IDs, then it is completely fine. There is no problem. You can add as many. In fact, in my other classes, you can see, because all my students did not have institutional IDs. So you can see in all my other classes, I have added all students through their personal email IDs. And that is why I have also used my personal email ID, because all students did not have the institutional email ID. So otherwise, again, they would not have been added. So this is just so, I can see, now you can see here participants. If I go to this browser, you can see, if I now go to people, you can see that there is a student added. So this is my departmental ID, so BMS Ramanujan. So you can see that there is a student that has now been added. Now, okay, you can again email students, so you can communicate with the student. Otherwise, let me first, take you to some more important features of this Google Classroom. So this stream basically talks about, in the stream we have, like many of us know or use platforms like Facebook. So in the stream you get all the recent developments and posts and comments and all the things. So this stream is basically the live version of what it all has happened and what all is going on. So everything you post, everything you want everyone to know. So if you can contact students individually through their email or through their personal comments, but whatever you want to communicate to your entire class, and whatever you have you make any announcement, like we all do, we all announce in our physical classes that there will be a test after 1 week, or we will have this project, or we will have this kind of group exercise. So whatever announcement you can make, you can write it here. You can see that this is for this class. I can also change it from here also for my other courses, but I am sticking to ICT tools, and we have all students. So I can also deselect. So for example, I want to communicate to 5 students. So if I have a list of all students, but I want to communicate to 5 students who have not submitted their internal assessment, as they have not submitted their assignment, or they have not submitted their topic for the group project, or they are running short on attendance. So I can unselect all students, and I can manually tick which students I want to communicate with. And you can make any kind of announcement. So for example, I'm writing welcome to this course. And with this, whatever you write, I can also write some study material or announcement for a quiz or project or group exercise. In the beginning of the course, I can share with my students the syllabus, the weightage of different topics, or the duration in which we will be covering those topics. And you can add something here. So if you click on add here, we will see this later also in the classwork portion. If you click on add here, there is huge option available to you. You can virtually add anything possible. So anything that is there on your Google Drive, any website, any web link you want to add, you can add that. Any file from your computer, from your language of ICT professionals, we call it local device. So whether you are using a smartphone, whether you are using a college desktop or whether you are using your personal laptops or PCs. So whatever is your local device. So you can add any PDF, as I told you, any PDF file, any Word file, any e-resources, any free ebook or any free study material you want to share, or you want to share any, even for example, you have recorded your lecture in a video, 5-minute video, maybe introduction of the course in a 5-minute video, you want to share that video. So anything you want to share your PPT, anything you can share by clicking on this file option, and you will be taken to your select files from your device. So the first major option of Google Classroom, first we saw how much it is easy to simply add students. All students need to do is to have a Gmail account. They can search Google Classroom, they can click on join class, and they can enter this code. For institutional users, you need institutional IDs. Then you can share very easily any kind of material. You can share all of this. You can even share YouTube videos. So actually, YouTube should not be taken in a casual sense, dear participants, because actually what happens is that link to your, for example, this Gmail account, I also have a YouTube account. So what is happening nowadays is that many teachers, when they record their lectures, they post those lectures on their YouTube channel. So, YouTube is not just for, fun and other things, or non-academic things, or even academic things, but of other institutions. Your own lecture videos, your own explanation of some topics, you can post on your YouTube channel, and you can provide a link here. So you can provide a YouTube. In fact, you don't even need to type a URL. You can simply type, for example, ICT tools, and you can provide any link, anything which you have created or which other have created. So you can see here, if I search on ICT tool, this is like searching YouTube. This is an inbuilt feature of Google Classroom. So what you're doing essentially is like going to a YouTube, opening it separately, and then searching, and then copy pasting it, the link from there. You can in-house, in the platform itself, you can search, you can scroll all the ICT tools, you can find which one you have uploaded. So for example, ICT tools in teaching and learning mathematics, in teaching learning chemistry. So you can look which one you have uploaded, which one are relevant for you, and you can add them. So let me just show you. For example, I add this. So, and if I post this, so you can see all of this now is visible. So I have added a YouTube video of 1 hour 4 minutes on ICT tools, and students can access it. So I can just show you. This is my student ID. So you can see, this is my student version. I'm enrolled on this one through as a immediately what I posted as a teacher is now visible to me as a student also. So as a student, I can click on this link, I can go there, I can access this, I can read the instructions what my teacher has wrote, and I can do all of this thing, but I will take you more. So this stream is a live platform where everything that you do is presented. Now, if I go to classwork, the other tab, so you can also that classwork and people, stream classwork and people. There is no tab for grades, but when I take you to the teacher version, you can see there is stream, there is classwork, there is people, and there is grades. So obviously grades are kept with the teacher, and you won't want every student to be looking into grades of everyone else. So it is there in the document. I would tell you the proper way to do this is that first you first you should create a topic. First you should create a topic. So the topic may be a chapter or a unit or a portion of your syllabus. You are the best judge. So first you should create a topic rather than immediately going to these options. You should first create a topic. You can name a topic. For example, I name it Google Classroom because this is a course on ICT tools. So I name it Google Classroom, one topic. So now you can see a topic has been created, which is Google Classroom. Now I click on material. So this material will allow me, just like I showed you earlier, by adding that YouTube link, this material will allow me to add study material. But here, we have more detailed version. So I can, add that specific topic. So Google Classroom may be a broad topic. So I can write utilities of Google Classroom. And this description, this topic will explain the benefits and features of Google Classroom for online virtual teaching, learning, management. So I can write a description, and again I can add the material. So again I can post my Word file, my PDF file, another book, another reference material, maybe a scanned notes. We have scanned our notes and compiled them as a PDF or a Word file. And again, anything from Google Drive. Link would allow, you can give link of any other website on the internet. You can provide that link here. We have already seen how to add a YouTube feature here. And again, this is for this course. I can choose other courses. This option is coming again and again because, for example, sometimes we are taking some common courses. So maybe what we are doing for this course is also relevant for some other courses. So we, as a teacher, we often feel that maybe this was relevant for all ICT students, or for example, I am taking finance papers. So a recent article on finance may be relevant for not only financial management, but also for investment management students. So I can, click and add more options. So I can simultaneously share it with multiple classes. So again, I am spared the effort of sharing it again and again. Also in this class, again, you have the feature that you can share it only with or with all the students, or maybe, some student which needs, sometimes, we have some students hardly, maybe say 5%, 10% or 20%, would be asking for additional material and more learning. So you can share with them selectively, maybe not with the entire class. And as I told you earlier that there is an option of scheduling this. So you can either post it immediately, or you can, if you click on this, you can, schedule it. And the moment you schedule it, you will be asked for a date or time. So look at the immense benefit that this gives you. You have to post a study material 1 week or maybe 1 month later, after you have completed the current topic or current unit. But now it is, the winter break or the summer break, and you want to be done with everything. So all you need to do is to create a topic, add its description, add the study material, and just schedule it. So maybe I am preparing something for academic session that will begin in August. So I can schedule it for August 3rd, and my normal college time is say 9 a.m. So I schedule it for August 3rd. So if I do this, if I do like this, then this material, whatever I have added, will get posted and will be visible only on August 3rd at 9 a.m. to the students. And you can see here, we have the, okay, again, I will have to, I think, reload. So again, these illustrations and features come up. So nothing has been posted till now because whatever, you created a topic, but you didn't post anything. So for example, if I post something here now, or I change this instruction, I can change this instruction, I can edit it, and I can click on this cross button, and I can simply say that I am posting now. So you can see student will see the material in their streams immediately. I click on post. So now this is posted at 11:37, and you can see here. Now if I just refresh it, students will be able to see this topic. So they will be able to see this topic, they will be able to see the material and any attachment that I have added to this. And they can comment it. So the discussion forum that I talked about, so this is my student window. So as a student, I can ask my teacher to elaborate on something or reply to my doubts of my friends or classmates. All of this can be done from here. And again, in the people, you can add another teacher. So all you need to do is to invite the teacher. So you can invite the teacher by name or through their email ID, just like you did for the students. And in the grades window, you will get the grades. So let me take you to my some other class, and then we will be able to see the grades that I have already created, and you can see how it looks. So for example, if I take to my BCom Honors GE class, so you can see here, I have been posting unit-wise study material here. So in these study materials, you can see I have been posting PDFs. So I have either created the PDF or I have shared it out, and they are created from different sources. And I also posted an assignment. So you can see there were 63 students in my generic course. So this is a commerce BCom honors generic. So students are from BMS and economics honors. So there are 63 students, and you can see the options here. Turned in, that is out of the total students. Okay, let me just first give you an overview, then it will be easier. So if I take you to people, so these are the students that are added. So you can see 63 students are added in this course and now what I did was that I posted an internal assessment assignment. So the assignment questions have to be answered and submitted as a Word or PDF by April 19. So I provided the due date and I provided the assignment. Now what happens is that when I click on this assignment, when I click on view assignment, I can see how many, these are the instructions that I have provided. So 25 marks internal assessment and student work. So you can see that out of the 63 students, first what will be visible to you would be how many have submitted that assignment. So maybe at different points before April 19. Now, obviously, all of the students have submitted the assignment, but before April 19, maybe only out of 63, only 50 would have submitted. So you can track the progress. No more, keeping the things in hard copy and bundles and searching for the name and ticking in the attendance sheet that this student has submitted the assignment. You can track everything. Out of 63, how many have submitted? How many were actually assigned? So I assigned it to the entire class. So all 63 were supposed to do this, and turned in will tell you how many submitted. And now graded would mean that how many I have graded. That is how many I have evaluated and given marks. So actually you would see that I have given marks to everyone. So now let me take you to the fourth tab that will make this more clear. So if I go to the home page again, I just need to click on this button to go to the home window, that is the stream window. And now if I go to grades, so you can see. So you can see the class average, and you can see that I have given marks to all students. And I can have, some have got 18, 20, 24, 25, whatever is their performance. And I also get to know this. If I, for example, I open this student's assignment, then I can see that he or she has submitted late. So maybe I can charge a penalty, I can deduct marks, so I can see and I can assign the scores here. And one more thing I wanted to show to you before we move on to Zoom. So we can, scheduling an assignment. So creating a quiz or a quiz assignment, or you can simply, ask a question. So, this is more school like stuff. So for example, on a daily basis, you can ask some questions. So for example, you can ask, what do you understand by risk return trade-off? And on the daily basis, on a weekly basis, students can respond to that. But for example, if I want to create an assignment or a quiz assignment, for example, I want to create a quiz assignment. So you can see that by default, the option is of Google Forms, because it is the best way to, do it. Now, again, which course it is meant for? I can add multiple courses, whether it is, meant for all students, or, sometimes many of us take repeat internal assessments for some students who have missed, or some students who want to improve. So I can, again tick for which students, and I can ask students to join with their official names. That is there in the, in the records, so that I can know exactly whom I am communicating with. And now, whatever, for example, I create this assignment. Now, this quiz assignment, now I can, schedule it. So I can schedule it for, say, today, 12:30 p.m. So I am scheduling it for 12:30 p.m. Now I told you, how do I make this, a timed quiz. So to make this a timed quiz, I can provide a due date. So, this is a default, this is, you have to think little strategically, and you can achieve this. So how do I conduct a timed quiz through Google Classroom, or a timed test? So you can do this. You can first prescribe the beginning time by, scheduling it for tomorrow, say 12:30 p.m. Now you can, so this becomes the starting time, and now you can specify the ending time also. You can specify the ending time by selecting due date and time. So by selecting due date and time, tomorrow, and time is optional, but I can write it because I want this test, suppose, to be of half an hour. So I can write 1 p.m. here. I can write 1 p.m. So, you're seeing that this test will automatically become like our, timed test or timed examination. For example, we also will be having open book examinations from university. So this will become like that. So 12:30 p.m. will be the starting time, and 1 p.m. they will have to submit. If anyone submits beyond 1 p.m., then they will be marked late, and you can choose not to evaluate them, or you can, deny them the submission. So this was all regarding, Google Classroom. You can explore further. All the tabs and all the things I think I have already discussed, and you can work on it further. And obviously we will have some doubts and queries at the end. Now let me just quickly, take you to Zoom platform. So Zoom is a cloud-based video conferencing platform. So cloud seeming, cloud, we are not talking about heavens here. We are simply talking about something which is based on internet, online. And you can have in-person meetings, and you can have, collaborations also online. So you can also have webinars. Like for example, yesterday you must have attended the webinar, the inaugural session and the subsequent session of this FTP. So you can have a webinar, you can have one-to-one meetings, group meetings. So we all have our departmental meetings with teacher in charge, and we all have a small organizing team for a conference or for a workshop, or we have a team of researchers, including the supervisor or the co-supervisor, advisors. All of that can be done through this Zoom platform. Now, why Zoom platforms? You must have heard about many other platforms, and like platforms like Google Meet and so on. Number one feature with Zoom, number one benefit with Zoom is that the wide range of features and options that Zoom offers is unmatchable, is unparalleled. I have, we all have, gone through, I have explored all the other platforms, several people have during these times, but the number of features that Zoom offers, because, it is a proper professional company based in US. So number of features that Zoom offers is unparalleled to any other platform, and especially for teaching learning. For example, you have Whiteboard, you have screen sharing like we are doing this. And I know I don't need to talk too much you talk to you much about Zoom, because yesterday you had a webinar from Zoom, and now you are having a Zoom meeting. So you can already see the number of features that we are using of Zoom. It is practically everything that you can do. And you would say, what about interaction? So participants can switch on their video if the host permits. They can unmute themselves. So for example, we are hearing some disturbances because we have allowed participants to unmute themselves. Otherwise, during the lecture, we can ask all the students to mute themselves. I will show you those features. So we can, otherwise they can unmute themselves so that you can have a one-to-one conversation. You can see their video stream, and they can, as many of you are writing in the chat, so you can write in the chat your queries and doubts, and the teacher can respond. So the primary concern, I think many of you are already aware of the outstanding features, but the primary concerns that have arisen in recent times is regarding the safety and safeguards in Zoom. So I will like to, really assure you, and I have been, and many other people have been using this platform for quite a while now, especially in the past 1 month. Zoom has significantly upgraded its security features, significantly upgraded its security features since those rumors and those news started coming of leaks or something. Now it is virtually foolproof. You can generate a unique ID and password for every meeting. So it is not, you don't need to, share a common webinar link or a common link which can, be shared and misused. You can just before, for example, I have been using this feature in my classes. Just before the start of class, I tell the students one day in advance through Google Classroom or my WhatsApp group or Gmail group. I tell the students that tomorrow we will be having class at 9 a.m. Just at 9 a.m. Exactly at 9 a.m. I share, or a few minutes before that, I share the ID and password for that meeting. So there's no way in which anyone else can, enter or, plan in advance to enter into your meeting or even know of your meeting. Then there were reports that participants were, some people were sharing uh, not they were sharing inappropriate contents during the meeting. So you can simply stop all the other participants from sharing their screen. So they cannot share anything on their mobile, from their mobile or laptop. They cannot share anything. Also, even if suppose someone, gets the unique ID and password of that particular meeting and tries to join, but you can enable what is called a waiting room. So the participants cannot directly enter, even if they have the ID password, they cannot directly enter into your meeting. They cannot, like in a physical room, they cannot storm into your boardroom. They will be first, even after signing in through the ID and password, they will be first placed in what is called a waiting room. Only when you check their name and other details, then you can allow them. Otherwise, you cannot allow them. Even then, suppose somebody does a impersonifies someone else and enters, then you can immediately remove that person. And once they are removed from a meeting, they cannot join again. They cannot join back during the meeting. So no disturbance. So you can have unique IDs, you can mute them, you can stop them from sharing screen, you can stop their direct entry, you can, once removed, they will not be able to join again in the meeting. And you can also refer to the MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, in early May came up with detailed advisory for Zoom meeting platform. So it illustrated the detailed steps and icons that you can select. So I will just show you, I will be sharing this also with you along with the study material for this session. So let me just show this to you. Just a second. So yes, so you can, this, I will just, take you through this also quickly later on. But, this is launched by, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, Cyber Coordination Center. You can, understand. I will explain many of the features now. I have explained some, and I will explain how to, do it in the Zoom itself. And, you can select these settings. You can select these settings, security settings. It is just, we have clicked where to click, what to do, and you can select all these options. So for example, if I take you through some of them, so you can, instead of a fixed meeting ID, which can be, copied or used, you can have a unique ID and password for every meeting. So, use personal ID for instant meeting, we can unselect it. So for you each meet and save changes. So for each meeting, we will have a unique ID and password. Then in other settings, we can, for example, enable the waiting room. We can disable the browser join from your browser link. So only those people who have downloaded the Zoom app, they can join. So identify guest participants, those who have not, those who have joined without their authentic name or email ID, you can identify them as guests. Virtual background you can disable, or You can annotation. So sometimes also some teachers, students just like the our old times when teacher was turned towards the board and some student would be talking behind their back and making some sound or noises. So similarly, what some participants used to do initially was that they would draw something on the screen during the PPT, like on this file. They would color it or write something here, but you can disable this. You can disable this. So participants cannot write anything on the screen, whether on the PPT or anything. Who can share the screen? So you can select host only. Similarly, file transfer you can disable because you easily have many other platforms for file transfer. You have email, you have WhatsApp, you have Telegram, you have your Google Classroom. Again, for the chat and other things, again, I will show this. Even while entering from phone, you can enable that. They will require a password. Immediately, once someone enters in the meeting, there is some noise from their background. So you can choose this option that they will be muted when entering. So initially they will be muted. So till the time they settle in, the surrounding noise is not there. And again, you can have this all settings regarding meeting ID and password. You can use the things. You can also, disable video sharing, and there are some more things. Require a password when scheduling new meetings, required a password for instant meetings, and so on. So I think, now let me take you to the Zoom platform and show you how these things actually work. So I'm really thankful to a very cooperative organizing team of Sri Aurobindo College, because yesterday I requested through Shasta ma'am and Vanna ma'am, I requested that let me have a meeting mode for conducting this today's session instead of a webinar, because in the meeting mode, I can illustrate to the participants what they will be actually encountering when they take a class through Zoom. Because, we will not be normally taking classes through webinar. We will be taking classes through meetings. So they accepted my request, and you can see that we can now, be able to. So now for the first time, I will be sharing my entire screen with you. So just give me a quick thumbs up, because this was something which we were working on yesterday till very late. So please give me a thumbs up if you can see my entire Zoom window, including these options. Some of you just give me a thumbs up if you can see all these options like security, participant, chat. I think it is visible to all. So this is the, basically the window that you will have for Zoom when you are, starting. So if I go to, okay, so I have got some responses. Thank you. So now you can see, now there is the first option is to lock meeting. So if I lock this meeting, I'm not going to do it now, but if I lock this meeting, then just like, the boardroom is locked. So boardroom is locked or the meeting room is locked. So now nobody can enter, nobody can exit. So similarly, if we lock this meeting, nobody else can enter. Nobody else can enter. But obviously, if there is some network disruption, people will be able to exit. People will be able to exit, but nobody else can enter. So when we are, having a meeting of our department or our organizing team, so we know whom all to expect. So when all of them have joined in, so you can see there is, I think this would also be visible. So some participants due to network issue get disconnected. So just now you would have seen that if some participants wants to join in, they will, if we enable the waiting room, if we have actually enabled this waiting room. Now you can see again here, you can see the participants, you can see here, we have enabled the waiting room. So any member of this group cannot directly join. They will be first put in the waiting room, just like you saw a few seconds earlier, and somebody who is the host or you can see another person is in the waiting room. Only when we click on this admit button, which the organizers are doing, I'm not doing it, organizers are doing, they are the host. So only when we click on this admit button, will the person be able to enter into the meeting. So even if they have the ID password, nobody can enter into your meeting if you enable this waiting room. Similarly, if you lock this meeting, then no fresh person will be able to enter. But this, I know, slightly is a problem. If, but this is a problem only when we have, large number of participants. So some people have network issues and they get disconnected in between. So we should not ideally lock a meeting for large gatherings because that will restrict them from joining back. But if we have limited people and all of them are in and all of them are well connected, we can lock the meeting. So when we lock the meeting, nobody else will be able to join. So again, now you can see these detailed instructions, all the security features of MHA advisory and what I showed you in the PPT, you can simply select it from here. So if you disable this, so for example, you can see one participant has drawn this yellow line and they have been able to do it because I have not disabled, you can see here now. So this is what is, thank you, whoever has drawn this yellow line, thank you. It is a teaching aid for me actually, because participants can do these kind of disruptions. So they can draw some lines on your PDF or on your PPT. So what you can do is to disable the participants annotation. So if I click on disable participants annotation, no participant will be able to draw anything or write anything on my screen. And also what, as a teacher, we also have to use some tactics. So in one class, I was, I had not disabled and some students were mischieving and they were drawing something on the board. So instead of disabling, what I did, I clicked on this show names of annotators. So I will not, try to target this person by clicking on this. But if you click on this, then actually you will know who has drawn. So just like, behind the back, somebody is talking and we don't know who it is, but here there's nothing to hide. Nobody can hide. So we will know exactly who has done that kind of drawing or disruption in our class. So for example, for now, I disable the annotations. So now no more annotations can be done. And I can show you some other features. So participants are allowed to chat, but just like students talking amongst themselves is not a good thing in real classes. So we can disable it, and we can so sorry, if you see here, there are 3 dots. There are 3 dots for more. So you can see the options. Participants can chat with no one. So maybe during the initial class, during the initial portion of the class, we can disable that no participant can chat with anyone, or with the host only. So primarily when you are taking the class as a teacher, you are the host. So participants can only chat with you. A dream which every teacher has, that students only talk to them, ask their queries or discuss something with them. You can actually enable this in a virtual classroom. We cannot do it in a real classroom, but we can ensure this in the online classroom. So we can choose that host only or everyone publicly, so they can, whatever anyone is posting would be visible to everyone else. So all these security features are there. You can choose accordingly. Also, participants cannot rename themselves. For example, now it is selected that participants can rename themselves. But if I unselect it, then no participant will be able to rename. So not only I can, ensure that they join with their authentic names in the beginning. Otherwise, I will not give them entry because I have enabled the waiting room. I will not give entry to someone whom I am not aware of, who is not my student or who is not my colleague or who is not my researcher. Not only that, but I can also later on prevent them from renaming themselves, because somebody can join in someone else's name, or students do all this kind of mischief. So they can say that it was not me, it was someone else. So they can be disabled from renaming. They can be disabled from unmuting themselves. So some of the noise disturbance that we had is because some of the participants were able to unmute themselves. In fact, you can see that this is selected. So all participants can unmute themselves. But if we disable this just for a few seconds, if we disable this, then now nobody will be able to unmute themselves. So pin drop silence. Pin, not only a pin drop silence, but in a physical classroom, you at least still have external disturbances. So somebody who is outside your classroom, or somebody who is some noise that is coming from outside the building. But unmute, if you disable it, there will be no noise from any corner. There will be a great learning environment. Also, you can remove a participant. So also if I just show something that I can as a host do. So I will be taking this privilege with my colleague, with my friend and faculty from Sri Aurobindo College, Vanna. So if I just click, I know her, she's Vanna Munjal. So, I can chat with her. So I can drop a personal message to her. I can ask her to start video. So what about, we all, must be nowadays taking presentation from students. So how to take virtual presentations. So what you can have is to add all the students in your class, and then one by one, you can allow. So now it is suppose the turn of Vanna to start her presentation. So I can ask her to start video, and she will be able to present her work. Then again, I can allow recording. I can rename her. If, for example, someone does a mischief, I can again rename them back. I can put them in the waiting room. So for example, I have used this feature. So, despite reminders, we all know how students are. So students sometime students, you know, join in and they don't follow the instructions. So you have told students to join only with their class names, but they still have joined with either the system name, or initially they were problems that somebody was joining in as Osama bin Laden or somebody else. So if anyone tries to play that mischief, I can simply put them in waiting room. So if I put that person, I won't be putting Vanna in the waiting room. She's the organizer, but otherwise I can put anyone in the waiting room. And I can then message to everyone. For example, you can see everyone in the meeting. There is no one in the waiting room now, but some of you might have noticed that earlier when there was one or two people in the waiting room, there was option of sending any message to everyone in the waiting room. So I can put all the students who have not joined from their authentic name. I can put all of them in the waiting room, and I can message to everyone in the waiting room. Just like in meeting, I can message to everyone in the waiting room and tell them that you will be permitted to join only when you change or rename yourself and join in with your original name. Till then, you will be waiting in the waiting room. And finally, as a security feature and a control feature, you can remove a participant. You can remove a participant, and nowadays Zoom also provides you option of reporting. So for example, there is a wider community because there can be some disruptionists who can be troubling many other people. So you can report them to Zoom and with other participants, other teachers or other colleagues who are similarly conducting classes. And if this remove button is used, then they will not be able to join back in this meeting. So they will not be even shown in the waiting room. So as a teacher, we have to be a little careful in using this remove button. So because in the entire session or the duration of your class or program, they will not be able to join in. And also there can be something, so you can ask your participants that if you are doing good, or maybe in the presentations that are going on, or some interactive session is going on, they can give a clap or they can give a thumbs up, because these are the virtual things. Obviously already the organizers are recording this session, but you want to record now. It is so you see, this is very easy. You are not only taking a live class through Zoom, but you can also record it. All you need to do is to just click on this record button. All you need to do is to click on record button. I will not be clicking on this because you can see already a recording is taking place from the organizer side. But you can, simply record it. Your entire session, your whatever, and everything gets recorded. So whatever PPT you are sharing, your background voice, everything will go with it. Every study material, whatever you are sharing, whatever you are doing, your entire window will be recorded. So it is like really, capturing the entire live class. It is same. And this again has great feature because once you record it, you can share it many times over and anybody can access from any time. And you have also can see these features, these two buttons are for you. So for example, if I click on stop video, then my video feed will go off. And when my video feed goes off, what will happen on the screen? You can see that when I switch off my video, my name will be displayed on the screen. So you can see once I switch off my video feed, my name is displayed. So similarly, your name as a teacher will be displayed. And now I can click on the start video and this happens. Sorry for the hazy transmission. I need to work on my webcam. Again, similarly, this mute button is for you. This two things are for you. So if I mute myself, you will not be able to hear me even when I speak. So this is the common problem that people face, connecting initially. So just check this, that you're not muted. So you could have seen me speaking, but you could not hear because I was mute for a few seconds. And you have this option wherein, you can connect with a speaker or a headphone, or you can, I am using computer audio. So, you can see my face. I am not using any headphone. I am not using any earphone. I am simply using the computer audio, but you can connect with anything else as you like. And this polls option, sometimes we say, do you want a class? Students, I often use this. So students, do you want to postpone the test? Or, do you want to have a class tomorrow? And you can have the poll from students. They will respond to it and you can know how many of them have done this. And I think I have covered all this. And then if I click on this leave button, I will not be clicking now because that will create a problem. That will waste some time. But if you click on leave the button, and actually I have not started this meeting. This has been started by the organizers of Sri Aurobindo College organizing team. But once you start a meeting, and then if you click on leave button, you will get two options. One is that, okay, so I think my screen should be visible. So is my screen visible? Okay, thank you. So for a few moments, I think it was not visible. So when I click on this leave button and I have started the meeting, which you will normally do as a teacher. So then you will get two options. So either you can leave the meeting, either only you can leave the meeting, or you can end the meeting for all. So that is another security feature. So you don't want, students to be interacting with each other or any other people to be interacting with each other behind your back. So whenever you have started a meeting, you click on leave and you can select end meeting for all, end meeting for all. So that will end everyone's meeting. Or if you have to rush, then you can, exit yourself while others will be still host. Others will still be in the meeting. So that's all, friends. And just before, going out, you can see that I have different options that I can share. Now this feature, somebody also talked about this, the last feature. So this is a whiteboard feature. So we are all aware of our traditional blackboards, green boards. So another outstanding feature of Zoom is that it provides us with a virtual whiteboard. So I can type many things. For example, last thing that I am really sorry to the organizers and the participants that I have exceeded my time. Let me also allow to unmute. So if principal sir or others want to say something, they can join in any time. We are approaching the end. So if for example, student participants, I want to share other open source tools that you can use. Other open source ICT tools. So if you want to create your own, so for example, video, then there is something called Open Short Video. Or let me just check its exact name. I will be sharing only the free open source software. So sorry, this is not this. This is Open Broadcaster software. So you can create your own videos through this. Then if you want to do video editing, so I'm writing this on the whiteboard, both to illustrate to you the whiteboard feature, and also maybe you can take a screenshot or something, because this will not be in the PPT. So for video editing, you can use what is called Open Short Video Editor. So there's a software which is Open Short Video Editor, and for creating your own free website, and I'm telling you, you don't have to do any HTML or Java programming. It is very, very easy. You can create your own website, personal website, everyone can, whether for department, for institution, you may need a more complex one, but for department or for your personal website, you can use Google Sites. So like Google Classroom, Google Docs, this is another free platform from Google, which is Google Site. And for drawing some free charts, you can use charts and diagrams. Sometimes because we have people from different disciplines. So there is a software called draw.io. Draw.io. So this is another open source software that you can use to create live and interactive charts and diagrams. And finally, if you want to create your own Mooc course, so all of us are aware of the platforms like EDX and Coursera, in which you have this Mooc courses. So if you want to create your own, then we have certain platforms. On one of them, I'm not sure, but on one of them, I think you also have a session later on in this FTP. So there is a platform of Moodle, and there is a platform of something called Open EDX, and there is also something which I think you will be learning later on, and that is the Moodle. So I don't know exactly how much features are available, but definitely you would be learning it in Moodle, so you can use this. So these are the other open ICT tools that you can. Thank you very much. Sorry for exceeding the time limit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Arnav. Arnav, there are certain questions in the chat box, if you could address. I think you have answered majority of them by the end of the session, but there's this one question that is all these features available in the basic version of Zoom 2?
Okay, so yes, actually I'm also using a paid version, which is, there are several plans in Zoom, but in the basic version that comes entirely free, you can have up to 100 participants and a normal class. So a normal class is say of 40 minutes. So you can have sessions up to 40 minutes, but you can also upgrade your plan based on your requirement. For example, in the past 1 month, I had to take many classes and sessions. So I upgraded for this 1 month period, I upgraded to the I upgraded to the premium plan. So in this, I paid only about $15 for 1 month, but now I had unlimited meeting times. So I could take 3-hour sessions, 4-hour classes, and all of that. But all the basic features are there, even on the free version.
Paid one. Right, right. So we have another question. It is saying that isn't it better to take classes on Google Classrooms or other platforms other than Zoom? So which one would you prefer, Arnav, amongst all of the platforms that are available right now for taking the classes?
Dear participants, obviously, see, we are not, sponsoring anything or, advocating anything. There are, as you have rightly said, some of you are also aware of, there are several platforms. But I have comprehensively introduced you to the Zoom platform, and I have, addressed all kind of security issues or threat issues that you may perceive because of what happened earlier in news. But in my personal opinion and what I have observed, dear participants, is that all professional programs and paid programs are, mostly all of them are running on Zoom because of the enhanced features that are there with Zoom. But obviously it is entirely your personal call. But Zoom has, I think, addressed many things.
Now Arnav, our chat box is flooding with the praises for you. Thank you so much. It was such a nice session. Without much ado, I would like to now invite my colleague, Dr. Rishika Nair, to say a few words in the end. Over to you, Rishika.
Thank you, Vandana. Thank you, Arnav. And with this, we come to the end of the session. And I'm positive that today's session has led to digital skill enhancement for every participant. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to Dr. Arnav Kumar for taking out time off his ultra busy schedule and adding a building block towards seamless adoption of technology by the teaching community. Arnav, all the information that you have shared today will greatly help us all befriend these digital platforms that, as we expect, are going to be the mode of teaching for some time. Thank you so much. At this point, I would also like to thank our Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Vipin Kumar Agarwal, for his far-sightedness. His commitment to the profession is unmatched and drives each one of us every day to be at our best potential. I would also like to extend my gratitude towards Dr. Shubhanjali Chopra, Teacher in Charge, Department of Commerce, for her incessant efforts and enthusiasm to scale new heights. Teamwork divides the task and multiplies the success. With this, my sincere thanks to my fabulous teammates, Dr. Meenakshi Chaudhary, Ms. Shasta, Vandana, and Radha. A heartfelt thanks to all participants for being such a wonderful audience. We will shortly be sending you all the assessment for today's session. Please submit the same by tomorrow. And for tomorrow's session, we will be joined by Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, who is Director of Communication and Information Services at Jawaharlal Nehru University. He will be taking a session on e-governance in education. The meeting link and instructions, if any, will be sent to you by tonight. Please stay tuned to your WhatsApp groups and email. And with this, I will sign off. Thank you so much for all your time. See you all tomorrow. Stay safe and have a good day.
Just a minute. Rishika?
Sir.
Rishika? Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Can you announce that even now, if anybody wants to join, can register?
Yes.
Right?
So we are opening we are keeping the registration open. If anybody, any of your contacts want to register, please contact us. Registration link will also be shared on the WhatsApp group.
Because yesterday evening also, late evening also, many of the participants have joined.
Yes. So we'll circulate the registration link once again on the WhatsApp groups, and we would appreciate if you can forward it to your contacts.
And thank you on my personal behalf and behalf of the college Arnav, really thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for this
And
opportunity.
we will keep on troubling you. You will have to take many more sessions like this.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am ending the meeting.
Yeah.